to Board of the Day. My name is Ruby the Reindeer and this is Whip a Tube. And today we're going to talk about a game that we played just the other day, showing you the board that we had and the kind of expansions that we used. We played Dominion. We love Dominion, and we often play Dominion with a couple of different expansions, so that we pick and mix expansions together with the basic cards. From the basic deck we use the money cards and the points cards, and if there's any loans or extra points, the kind of physical coin points or something that can be used, and we use those. But then we often pick up a couple of expansions and randomly draw a couple of cards from each expansion that we've decided to use. And this time we used 4 different expansions, and none of the action cards we used were from the basic game. So expansion number 1 was the Dark Ages, which is this one. From the Dark Ages expansion we used 4 different cards. We used Feodum and Count, we used Rebuild, which was really a good one, and then we used Altar, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. The second expansion that we used was Alchemy, which looks like this. Hope you can see it. And from the Alchemy expansion we used 2 cards. They were quite cheap ones. We used Transmute and Herbalist. And also in the Alchemy expansion you have a different type of money, which is called Rohto in Finnish. And it's something in English, and I don't know what it is, but it's another type of currency, and you need that to buy Transmute, so that's what we had.
Potion or something like that.
Potion, that's it. That's the one. So the third expansion that we used is Keisarikunta in Finnish, which is empires in English, and from this one we used 4 different cards. Out of this one we used Capital and Crown, which were action cards, and then we used Arena, which is one of the green cards that you put sideways. The green cards have to do with points, so Arena was the one that we used from the point cards. And then we used Dominate, which is another type of action that you can buy, and the Dominate card also has to do with points, but it was a really expensive one and you could only buy it once or twice in a game if you're lucky. But that was the difference in that expansion. And then the 4th expansion was Prosperity, and from the Prosperity expansion we used 2 different cards. One of them was Watchtower and one of them was Loan, and the Watchtower card has to do with it's kind of a shield card that you can use to shield yourself from something, from harm, and the Loan card has to do with money. So this expansion setup was perfect for me as a player, because I really like games that where I can build up my own set of cards and not worry about other people attacking me, which is something that Whip a Tube here doesn't like, but then I like it. So this was a good gaming setup for me. What I really enjoyed about this game was that there was no attacks, and there were also no curses. As you can see from the table setup that you can see now, we didn't even pick up the curse cards at all, because nobody's going to buy them anyway, and if there's no cards, no attack cards that would give curses to anybody, then there's no reason to take them up. So we didn't have them at all. Out of the cards that we had, I think Rebuild was the one that was used by all of us. We played a 3-player game twice.
Yeah.
Rebuild was used by all of us, and Rebuild was perfect. It was possible to update your point cards, so if you start with your starting deck of 10 cards and you start your deck with 3 1-point cards, you could update those. You can kind of transform them into bigger points along the game if you have a rebuild card. Also with the rebuild card, you get one action, so that was the only extra action card that you could get in the game. That's why it was also useful. I really liked the shortish turns that this setup gave, because the rebuild was essentially the only card that would give you extra actions. Turns were simple and they were short and they were to the point, and you'd kind of deal your cards and you'd see what you've got, and then you'd do your shopping or use your money and gain new things, and that was it, and then you'd get on. So I really like that. And I also like the possibility of using cards together with other cards to kind of use kind of card companionship. That's what I really like. For example, you could use the crown card together with either your money to double your money, or you could use the crown card to double an action card. If you use crown together with rebuild, you'd get 2 extra actions, which is really powerful in this game where there's no other extra action cards at all. Mm-hmm. Another way to use card companionship would be to use Transmute, which was from Alchemy expansion, to use Transmute together with Herbalist to transform Herbalist cards into point cards. Herbalist costs only 2 money, and with a Transmute card you can destroy an action card. So if you have a couple of extra Herbalists in your deck, then you could use Transmute to destroy a Herbalist card, and if you destroy an action card with Transmute, you get a 3-point card in return. So you can easily transform your extra Herbalists into pretty good point cards.
Yeah.
Anything else that you liked about the game?
No.
No. So the minus points, what were the ones that you didn't like?
Well, it was hard to get like big monies and stuff.
Yeah, it was hard to get big money, but it was also hard to get big points. Yeah. Unless you use the rebuild card to kind of transform your point cards into bigger point cards.
In the first game it was easy for me to get lots of money, and I just kind of started buying the points a little too late. That's why I lost.
I think also, while I like the fact that the card game was, with this setup, it was fast paced, and it was the turns were kind of simple, and then it was somebody else's turn, and then it was somebody else's turn, and soon enough it would be your turn again. I really would have liked a card that would give you a couple of extra actions, because the only way to get actions was to use a rebuild card, and that would only give you 1 extra action. If you had a crown card, you could use that together with rebuild. Crown card would give you it doubles your either action card or your money card. So if you use crown together with rebuild, you'd get 2 extra actions, but that's all you'd get. So maybe if I would tweak this deck a tiny bit, I would probably tweak it so that there would be another card that would give you an extra action. Something that I didn't really use in this game setup at all was the card Altar, which is from the Dark Ages. You used Altar quite a lot. With Altar you can you destroy a card from your hand, and you can pick up any card that costs up to 5 points, up to 5 money. Yes.
Yeah.
So you liked using it, but I didn't buy an Altar. We played 2 games and I didn't buy an Altar at all. So if I would transform something about the deck, I could live without the Altar, card and transfer that to something that would give you actions. Maybe that's a good idea. Can you please take your hand off the microphone?
Yeah.
Because it's gonna sound handy otherwise. So out of, if 0 points would be the absolute no-go, never do this again, it was a bad idea to begin with, and 20 points would be the best game ever, how many points would you give this game?
19, because there was no action.
Okay, so the
Well,
-1 point comes from
yeah.
no actions. I really enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed this set of expansions. It was a chance game, it was a random setup. We didn't choose any of the cards ourselves, we didn't pick them up specifically, we just randomly picked them up. We picked a couple of cards from each expansion that we chose to use.
It usually works.
It usually does work, and this time it worked particularly well because we played 2 games and didn't change any cards in the middle. So out of 20 points, I would probably give this 18.5. I really enjoyed this. It's a perfect setup for somebody like me, somebody who doesn't like other people attacking them, and somebody who likes to build up their own deck in peace without
Same in
anybody
Minecraft.
without anybody disturbing.
I always just
The game
protect
setup.
you, and then he would just like walk behind me, and I'm just like, let's go, please.
Yes, but then this is not Minecraft. This is Dominion.
But it's the same thing.
It is the same thing, and I admit, I like the no attacks and no curses.
And no
The-
zombies.
No zombies. There's no zombies in this setup of Dominion. If that's what you're worried about, I assure you, there's no zombies in here. So, this has been our board of the day for the beginning of the year. This was, if you're watching this later, this was the first video of the Ruby the Reindeer Games channel to begin with.
And hello, future people.
Hello. This is also the first video of this year, so Happy New Year if you're watching this as a beginning of the year games video.
Or maybe 2019 to 2020 transition.
And if it's
Very
not a Happy New
futuristic.
Year, I hope your year that you're living is going to turn out into a good gaming year
In all kinds of games.
in all kinds of games. I'm Ruby the Reindeer, and this is WhipperTube. This game that we've played as a 3-player game, and we've used it. We've played with me and him and the nameless Dada, who doesn't have a name yet, but so he's called the nameless Dada.
That's why he's got a name.
That's why he's got a name, nameless Dada. We'll figure out a better name in the future. But as a 3-player game, we really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
It got 18.5 and 19 points out of 20, so it's a pretty good one. Expansions that we used were Alchemy, Prosperity, Empires and Dark Ages, and between 2 to 4 cards from each expansion. We really enjoyed this. Hope you do too. And if you like, you can leave a comment down below to see if you've tried this game setup, to see what you thought of it, and if you have any questions.
For us
Pop
to
them-
see, probably, not for them to see their own opinion of the game in the comments, but
Well, they can see their own opinion too. If you type down your own opinion about this game setup, then you can see your own opinion too. That's very clever and handy. Anyway, happy gaming from us to you. Cheers.
15 minutes. That's a long video
It's even longer.
of talking. Bye.